This is our presentation on letterpress printing by Bethany, Georgina, and myself, Sabrina. So letterpress printing is a form of relief printing where the text or image is on a raised surface. So the ink is applied to the raised surface and then paper is pressed directly against it to transfer the text or the image. So it leaves an imprint on the paper. And it's a very old method of printing that dates back to 1041, originating in China. There are a few steps in letterpress printing and a few different types of machines used. So firstly, the design or type needs to be prepared to be placed in the printing machine. After that's done, the sorts can be arranged onto the composing stick and then further arranged on the chase. The chase is basically a metal frame that's secured into the press for printing, and a compression device is used to lock everything into place. And then the chase is then slotted into the bed of the machine and the ink is spread onto the plate. After this, the paper is then fed through the machine manually for the design to be printed. So the positives and negatives of letterpress printing include that you are able to control the amount of ink used so you can make sure the paper's not too wet. It can be used with different inks such as spot colours and CMYK. Finished prints can leave a debossed or textured effect from how the ink has been transferred onto the paper. And you can combine modern and traditional methods of design with the older machinery and modern digital designs and polymer plates. However, there are also limitations, and these include that you do have to hand mix the inks to be put onto the machinery. Letterpress printing is a very old method, and so it's a very manual way of printing. You have to wait for the inks to dry as they're each applied separately, and also overlapping multiple colours can cause inconsistency in the print when combining bleed and mix into one another. So using a minimal number of colours results in a more successful print. File requirements include that any type in the design should be converted to outlines. If you're using colours, then they must be supplied as spot colours. Colour must be in CMYK or Pantone, and make sure to use crop marks. Here are a few examples of letterpress printing applications. So we've got a recipe book and the labelling on a honey jar. You can see on the honey jar that it's got quite a textural effect for the word honey, and also they have both made sure to use minimal colours, so there's no issues with, the printing.
This is my design for the Jaipur Literary Festival that explores Indian literacy. I noticed a lot of raindrop and mandala referencing in their branding, so I thought I'd capture it with this using only two spot Pantone colours that can make a more successful print, making a quicker job only using two colours and not allowing them to bleed into one another by having them not touching. So I've designed it to be on a bag. The reason for this was it would be able to be functional. Those attending the event are able to carry around any novelties that they've been able to get that day. And also the letterpress effect will be able to leave a textured effect on the bag. And it's good to transfer on cotton.
So for my design, I did a promotional card, as thick card is perfect for letterpress printing and the indented designs look great with this printing method and are what are normally done. Obviously, letterpress printing is traditionally used with type, so I wanted that to be the focus or the centerpiece of this design. But I also added a little square border around the Melbourne Writers Festival section in the bottom left-hand corner, just to add another shape that can also be achieved with letterpress printing, so it's not just plain text. Overprinting is also very successful with letterpress printing, so I added a second differently coloured exclamation mark over the blue one underneath and rotated the shape a little bit so the red would be printed over the blue to create a nice darker color when printed. And this can't be seen in this slide, but can be seen on the mock-up. So it obviously is visible here. I just transferred the design over to the card mock-up, and in this section use the embossing effect on Photoshop to imitate the look that it would have after it's been printed.
So for the individual component, I decided to do a promotional poster for the When We Talk About Love Festival. I used mainly red and like a blush pink color just because I think they work well together. There's still contrast, but they work really nicely together, and for me it reflects like love. I did the word love in a different font as well as really dark red, so 100% on that one, just to make it pop. And then I just did this little illustration of a rose and overprinted it in a lighter color just to give it a cool effect. I just tried to keep it really simple but also make certain elements stand out and make it quite modern. It's going to be printed A3 size on 150 GSM paper, and yeah, that's it.